This LS430 already needed $6,000 in repairs. And we're not even done yet. There's two giant nuts underneath the subframe that hold the motor mounts to the subframe. 17 millimeter, you're gonna need a long extension because there is a gap where you get to the nut on top. So we've undone those. Now that's all that's holding the motor in place on the subframe. Now on top we have the engine supported by our Spec Star engine leveler, and the motor is loose. You can see it kind of wobbling left and right. We just need to hold it here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna lower the subframe about an inch, and that should give us enough room to sneak the motor mounts out of the holes that they provide with us. We're done here. We'll lift up the car, move underneath. A lot of oil here under the splash shield. We've got oil, we've got coolant here, this pink stuff. Probably a bad water pump. We'll see once we take the time about the part. Potentially front main seal right here. You can see it leaking out of this hole. Another spot here, oil filter housing, an O-ring. You can see leakage here where this mates to the block. We're going to replace that. You can see a sensor. That's the oil level sensor. There's an O-ring, turns rock solid, leaks out. When we're doing the motor mounts, we're going to replace that O-ring. If you see this on your car, this is also a very common leak. This is actually oil that leaks from the transmission output shaft seal here under this black cover. Transmission fluid will leak out onto the manifold or the exhaust and burn off, and damage to the transmission because it runs out of fluid. However, this one, it looks like they replaced it because we have no more leak. We just have the remnants of the old leak. So we have this broken engine mount that we can now just pull out of here. All right, driver's side engine mount out. This is the one that always breaks. You can see it just tears in half. Sometimes these will have new pink paint or different color paint so you can visually identify if it's been changed or not. But this one just fell out. Now we got to get the top portion out that's attached to the engine block. Here is the new motor mount, 12361 50170. You can see what it's supposed to look like. And then here's that brighter pink paint or new pink mark. And this is the part that goes into the engine on top. So this is the piece we're missing that rips off, and then this goes through the subframe on the bottom. I'm going to pull out the bracket that holds us to the engine. So we've also lowered our subframe. We've got 22 millimeter socket, short extension, and you got 4 bolts in the subframe. So here, control arm again, this outer one, and then you've got one more up here. So you loosen that, and dropping the subframe down a little bit will give you a couple inches, and that'll allow you even more room to get the motor mounts. And then here's the final one right here, right behind the steering boot bellow. So combination of the subframe down and the motor up gives us enough room to work the motor mounts out. So here we have to unbolt the steering shaft from the driver's compartment because this has to be kind of moved in order to get the mount out. Probably want to loosen this first also before you start raising the engine and lowering the subframe because it might pull on it. So this is free, this one bolt, and now we have to kind of work that shaft. Wheels should be straight, steering wheel should be straight, and since we're on a 4-post lift, the wheels aren't going to move, so we don't need to worry about the car coming out of alignment. So, as you can see, that just popped loose, and now we can kind of move the steering shaft out of the way so we can get the bracket out of the way. So now what we will want to do is mark it with a paint pen right where it sits so we know exactly where we have to put it back on. So what we're going to do here, just know that that needs to go right there. So we're back in alignment perfectly. Should give us clearance to get the bracket out. And in order to change that O-ring, if you remember the sensor right here, that goes into the oil pan, this is your oil level sensor. To remove all this anyways, just to change that O-ring. So we should definitely change the O-ring while you're doing the motor mounts. So we have 3 extensions and a 14 millimeter socket here. These should pop loose pretty easily because they're aluminum bolts through an aluminum mount into an aluminum block. Aluminum, obviously, you don't want to strip these out or strip the heads because you'll have problems. This one's on a little bit of an angle, but we should be okay. Yep. Nice. There's 2. Oh boy, it's way up there. This last one, it can be on a slight angle, so you may need a swivel bit. The steering rack, you can see, gets in the way, this top part that's sticking out. Yeah, something just to get a better angle on that last bolt. All right, you'll see our 14 millimeter wobble bit on there. You can also find these on our Amazon store. We buy a lot of stuff from Amazon. So that's how that works. You should be able to sneak it out right there. Hopefully putting the new one in will be just as easy. See that wire on the mount, the ground wire, so don't forget to put it back on when you put the new motor mount in. Alrighty, now same thing here. That should just kind of fall through here, hopefully. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so bracket first, rubber motor mount second. You got your greasy mess out of the car. So you can see the bracket has like a little dust shield, rubber shield, heat shield. And on the passenger side, you can even see is already starting to crack there. It isn't broken all the way through, but this car's gonna drive really nice with these motor mounts replaced. And then here you can see the pink mark. So if you ever look under the car, you see a nice new pink mark, you can say, oh hey, they already replaced the motor mounts. 17 millimeter. Comes straight out. Don't forget the order. We've got the cover and this bracket, which holds onto the motor mount here. If the motor mount totally fails, this is still like a fail safe. Swap in the new one. Now this is kind of tricky because you got to get this rubber piece around here, but then also get the stud through. So I find a screwdriver and then pop this rubber piece under there. Just like that. Dust shield here. The driver's side, like I said, the engine torques this way, so it's going to rip this mount off the bracket. And you can see, like, it'll still kind of retain it in there, so you don't have a total failure. But this is no good. This is useless. Under our bracket. Plenty of room here to do this exact thing, because the engineers were friends back then. You need to sneak the aluminum bracket under the manifold heat shield, and that way you will clear the subframe for the motor mount. The lower stud will clear it and everything will kind of go into place. So the motor mount bracket bolts are M10 by 1.25. If in case they get galled up or you have an issue with them threading into the block, you can get your tap out and just re-tap the threads in the block, clean them up so these bolts go in smoothly, because you don't want these jamming up in the aluminum block. All right, drain the oil because A, the customer wants an oil change. B, we have to drain the oil to reseal the pan, which is leaking. And C, our oil level sensor over here has an O-ring that we need the oil to be out of the pan to change, otherwise we'll spill everywhere. While that's draining, I can start the oil pan removal. Since this pan has already been off, it should just pop off pretty easily. You can hear this one already kind of breaking the seal a little bit. Yeah, there we go. As we learned before, this car has 290,000 miles, and you can see some like buildup, some kind of sludgy, dark areas in the upper oil pan. So here is our oil level sensor, this little plastic thing. If that's down, it's gonna set off the sensor. So the oil holds it up, circuit's complete, and the oil light does not come on. So we need to remove this to replace the O-ring. And as you can see, there's no way this would fit out with everything in there. And then here's our O-ring, if you can believe it. This black thing, it's just rock solid. So here is our O-ring for the level sensor. It's actually rubber. There's your part number, and this is going to replace that black now piece of plastic. As you can see, that is no longer rubber. Here's the remnants. That's like a potato chip. And here's our new one. Slide this right over, flat side down, because this little indent groove is going to fit under the ridge and seal everything up. It should sit just like that, flush on the surface of the sensor, all the way around. You can just put it back in, tighten by hand. Now we have to start the meticulous process of using either a razor blade or red Scotch-Brite, clear off the old sealing material off the upper oil pan. All right, we got the oil pan off, and you can see there's quite a bit of gray sealant on here. Not saying gray sealant's wrong, but the Toyota stuff we're gonna be using is black. So best way to get rid of this is a wire wheel. If you have it, bench grinder on a wire wheel attachment. It's just gonna be a long process of here and working your way around the pan just like that. So once this is all black, all this old stuff is off, we can brake clean it, get it ready and prepped for the new RTV or FIPIG. Here's our oil pan all cleaned up. It's sprayed with brake cleaner, so this is all good to go. No oily residue, no old sealant on there. This one looks like it could be original. It does have this sticker on it from All About Imports. I don't know if they replaced it or just resealed it, but either way, good and bad to have your company name on something. Something fails, you know, a couple years later, your name's on it. So oil pan, this will infinitely leak. You might have to just spray a little bit more brake cleaner on and do one final wipe down of those areas. Now we've got our Toyota Seal Packing 103 FIPIG tapig, sometimes people call it. This is the same as 3-bond. Honda Bond is similar. Comes with this little thing in the box to kind of advance the sealant. And then the tip, something important about this, make sure to put the date of when you open this, because it has a 6-month shelf life after you open it, and after that, probably wouldn't use it on anything important because it loses its ability to seal. So with that out of the way, take the cap off, and then you can pierce it with the other end of the cap. You'll notice it's black. The sealant that was on there is gray. You'll see little index marks on the tube thing. If you want a small, you can use that first one. That should be fine for the oil pan. And you can use this to kind of squeeze it out. I don't really have good luck with this because it tends to rip the thing, but here we are coming out of the top. This is important. You want to put the sealant in the center, and then when you get to the bowl hole, go to the inside because you're sealing the oil from coming out. You don't want to seal the outside of the pan because there's nothing there. Only a couple minutes to get this where you need it to go. So what we're going to do next is quickly install it. Make sure we have no oil dripping down. We don't. Everything is clean. All you're going to do is you're going to set this. There's 2 studs. There's a stud here and a stud here that we have nuts for. So we're going to line the pan to the studs. Make sure not to touch anything and just straight up like so. That's it. Now we're going to put this nut on by hand, one right here and then one in front. All right, so we got the pan on with the 2 nuts, and you can see the seam in between the pans. You can just start to see the black sealant kind of showing its face right there. That's pretty much all you want to see. You don't want it to squeeze out because then you're going to lose your sealant and then you're going to have leaks. Just go around the whole perimeter of the pan hand tight with your bolts. Let that sealant harden as much as it can, and then you come back and then final torque. If you're wondering how much 7 Newton meters is, it's not much. Here's one that hasn't been tightened yet. Slowly tightening, and that's it. So we'll do the rest of the pan. And after that, we're done. We put the new motor mounts in. Got the motor mounts bolted in. Now we're gonna do the steering rack, and then, oh man, motor mounts are installed. All we have to do now is reattach the steering linkage, and then we can lower everything down. So we're gonna line up that white line we had, mark on the gear. 17mm engine mount nuts here. Next up is going to be this oil filter housing O-ring. There's your part number for that. Need to begin by removing your oil filter. So just twist off, let it drain into the appropriate container, and then we have to do an oil change anyway, so we'll be putting on a new filter, the Toyota YZZ-D3. And with this drain, we just need to remove it. There should be a nut or bolt or something that holds that housing on, and then we can swap out this O-ring assembly. So we got a couple 12mm bolts, a couple 14. Taking the last one off right here, it's actually a nut under the bracket that we already took off. So this is the last nut holding in this housing, and hopefully we won't get too much of a mess here. It's actually like a stud with this giant nut thing on the end of it. So that goes in there. And then here you will see our rock solid O-ring that we got to replace. All right, so as you can see, this is very pliable, and this is not. So we're gonna have to try to rake this out of here without damaging the surface. There we go. And yeah, that's not gonna be holding any oil back, because that's basically rock solid plastic again. So here's our new one. Put it in and put it back and eliminate one more oil leak. Okay, keep that loose because you want to tighten the other bolts first. Don't forget your bracket before you put your AC compressor bolt through. Last step, plug in your sensor again. New oil filter. Snug that on by hand. Last step here is the trans mount. Got an aluminum bracket, and then the actual mount above it, which you already demonstrated earlier, was totally separated. There's 4 12mm nuts here, and we should support this. So as you can see, that mount is not even in play right now. We're lifting the whole transmission off of it. But this is going to keep the weight off the mount so everything doesn't fall down on us. So here is your transmission mount. As you can see, it's not connected. So we need to remove it from the transmission and then put the new one on. Here's the new mount, all one piece, and you can see the rubber, how long it is compared to this one, how compressed it got over the years, and then just eventually just ripped. So here's your part number. We have these on our website, TaninJDM.com. So these 4 last bolts can sometimes seize to the transmission. These bolts here are aluminum, and on a southern car, they come off like butter. However, on a northern car, sometimes this will corrode and rust so bad that it'll fuse to this, and then the bolts won't be able to come out, and you'll snap all 4 of these bolts off. If you do have a northern car, I'd recommend getting an inductor coil where you can superheat these bolts, and then you should be able to easily remove them. So they're about 800 bucks on Amazon, but they're worth it in situations like that. That's it. We'll just snug these down. I'm sure there is a torque spec, but it's an aluminum bolt and an aluminum housing, and it's not really just holding the mount in place. It's not like it's holding the transmission up. That's good. Now you can see how this should move. There should be some flex in the rubber like so, but it should not be disconnected entirely. Last step is this bracket. Very easy. I think this one might be directional, if I'm not mistaken. But now you see how hard this is to get on because the mount is extended. So we actually have to jack this up a little bit more with the new mount. Now we're flush against the frame. So that shows you how much a new mount is going to improve the handling and vibration and all that with the transmission. That's how it should be. All right, guys, please like, subscribe, comment, click that notification bell because this Lexus has a ton of problems. $6,000 repair estimate. We're getting through it, but we've got worse problems up top. We've got all this oil leaking down from the top side, but this episode, we did the oil filter housing O-ring. That's gonna fix that leak. We did the lower oil pan here, resealed that. That's gonna fix that leak. 2 new engine mounts up in this area. We did the back transmission mount. We gotta do rear O2 sensors coming up. The big thing is the valve cover gaskets, the cam seals. The whole top end's gotta be taken apart. Timing belt. Stay tuned, wait for the next video.